76-year-old woman has been found dead in her home this week in central Israel in a case that's suspected to be the 9th domestic violence killing since the start of 2023 in the country. Now, police have arrested the woman's husband, who had called to tell them that his wife had been suffering from shortness of breath. But upon arriving, emergency teams say that they immediately noticed signs of violence on her body and that she was surrounded by bloodstains. Well, in 2022, 24 women were murdered in Israel because they were women, according to the Israel Observatory on Femicide. And last year saw an almost 4% increase in complaints of domestic violence. Yet last month, coalition lawmakers narrowly voted down a bill that would have mandated an electronic monitoring system to track domestic abusers, which caused a brawl in the Israeli parliament. Just take a look at this. So that was the reaction from many female lawmakers in response to that bill being voted down. Activists have long complained that not enough is being done to prevent violence against women in Israel. So how is this new government tackling the issue? Well, joining us now is attorney of law, Gali Etzion, head of counseling and legislation department in Na'amat, which is the Women's Movement of Israel. So first of all, why was this electronic bracelet bill struck down? I mean, what was the intention here, especially given that many experts say that the law could help save lives by better tracking abusers?
Well, I can only join the question because I really don't have the answer. I actually would like to take you a little bit back to the history. You know, we have been fighting for this law since 2015. And there was a national report regarding domestic violence, domestic abuse that was published in 2016, calling, among other things, to put this tool into the toolbox of fighting domestic violence. And the government of that time, Prime Minister Netanyahu, embraced that report. And, you know, last year we convinced the police not to be afraid of this law, but rather to embrace it as a meaningful tool which will help protect abused women and their children and will allow them to live as much as possible normal life instead of running away to shelters. And of course it will save lives. Now this proposal was made by professional teams in the Ministry of National Security. It's not, you know, it's not a political thing. It's not right. It's not left. It's a life-saving measure, and it's very moderate and sensible bill. And even in the last day of the Knesset, the previous Knesset, it passed on its first round, which is, you know, in Israel you need 3 rounds, and was with consent of then the opposition, today the coalition, and all points to the fact that we need to have this law enacted as fast as we can. And instead we got this, you know. I think that maybe instead of dealing with this so-called reform, we would like our government to deal with the main issues such as domestic violence, which is rising and scary.
What steps are being taken by this new government right now to tackle the uptick in domestic violence that we're seeing? And I also understand that Likud Knesset member Mai Golan is going to be taking on a new role to focus on women's issues.
Well, unfortunately, I really don't know, because I hear statements by the National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. He's going to take care of everything. He's going to protect women, but so far nothing has been done. And we're going backwards. You know, women in Israel were not willing to go backwards. And titles are nice, but you know, at the end of the day, we judge by the results, not by the title and not by fancy names. So it's on her. If she really want to do things, there are many plans. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Everything is there. You just need to do it.
What sectors of Israeli society are the most impacted by domestic violence today, and why do you think that we're seeing this uptick?
Well, we know that there's no sector that is being abused. It's all over. You know, women, Haredi women, Ashkenazi women, Sephardi women, rich women, poor women. It's not. You're not protected. You can't be in a specific sector and be protected. It's an epidemic, and you should treat it as an epidemic. It's like, you know, we see terror attacks and a lot of talking regarding terror attacks. This is terror. This is the interior terror in the house, and we should deal with it the same. And the uprising is, of course, because we hear about militias that are going to be around. We hear about guns that are going to be served to every citizen that would like it, and of course the music make the song. That's what I can say.
All right, well, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, we have to move on to our next story here, but obviously just such an important discussion for us to be having right now, especially after the ruling that came down on that bill.
Thank you.